episode of BNA Football Weekly. This is now it's turning into a bi-weekly show, but it's supposed to be a weekly show. I run on my channel where I do my best bets of the week. We're currently, we're on a roll here. We had 2 weeks where we were like 1 for 9, and now last week we're at 3 for 5, and now we're looking to get on a little bit of roll here. I'm trying to learn how the bettors think and stuff like that, so we're going to do that. We're also going to go through my top NFL storylines, and we're also going to do my my top NFL teams. If you want to skip through the video, time codes will be in the description below. And if you want to listen to this on Apple Podcasts, honestly, I started using Apple Podcasts a couple months ago. It's great. I try to upload at least a podcast every single weekend. There'll be a BNA Sports Weekly, and I have a little bit of a running podcast too on there. So there's a lot of content out there. I try to have like 3 podcasts or so a week. I think it's useful, but without further ado, let's just begin with my... I don't know what I'm going to start with, so I'm not going to say. But let's just begin and enjoy. Welcome to my top NFL storylines. So the first thing I want to talk about is Tom Brady. So before the season started, I made a predicting quarterbacks. Where are the top quarterbacks are in the land? No, what teams are going to have starting quarterbacks in 2020? So I said the Carolina Panthers. I think I said something like Cam Newton. I was obviously wrong with that. I said the Chargers are going to move off Phillip Rivers. And yeah, so that was before the draft, before everything. But I said Brady. I thought he was. I don't want to predict when he's gonna end his career, because a lot of people have been doing it. That it seems like now people keep on saying, oh, he's gonna retire, and then once he does, people are gonna be like, oh, see, I told you so. Well, you say it so much, eventually he's gonna retire. You can say until he's 60, eventually he's gonna retire. So eventually you'll be right. So I didn't try to predict. I thought they'd draft Will Grier, but they ended up drafting Jarrett Stidham. And there are a lot of choices for them now. And I want to talk about the situation between the Patriots and Tom Brady. So Robert Kraft now is rumored to not want to have a foot in the game with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. And Tom Brady's like, I don't want to get paid, like a poor man anymore. That means he's not enjoying the game anymore. That's basically what that tells me. He's not enjoying the game as much as he wants to. He's getting frustrated. I think he's caught up in his emotions now. Like, I can't deal with this bullshit. You need to pay me a lot of money. So he's caught up in a lot of emotion right now, and he's not enjoying playing the game now. What will help him enjoy playing the game? If he wins another Super Bowl, if the offense starts clicking, because he wants to contribute, he wants to help his team, and he's seeing that he's not helping his team, so he's very frustrated. Now, before, Robert Kraft said, you know what, Bill Belichick, no, we trade Jimmy Garoppolo, we have to keep Tom Brady, but now you're getting into rarefied air. It was cute when he turned 40, like, oh, can he do it? But now he's turning 43. And there are a couple of guys that could replace him, but who would you want to replace him? Teddy Bridgewater, maybe. I don't know about that. Can he deal in the cold? I think Teddy Bridgewater is more of a fair weather guy. He did play in Ohio State, but there's that. Jameis Winston is the anti-QB for Bill Belichick. And plus, Josh McDaniels might leave. People are forgetting that Josh McDaniels is rumored to be a head coach somewhere. So you're going to bring in a guy without an offensive coordinator? Like, what are you going to do there? So there's a lot of questions to be answered. Would you like Ryan Tannehill with his 3-4 week stint? Well, actually, it's more like 6 week stint where he's playing great. Do you want Marcus Mariota, who, he's a perennial one-to-one touchdown interception ratio guy? He doesn't throw a lot of interceptions, but he doesn't really throw a lot of interceptions, but he also doesn't throw a lot of touchdowns. He's a pretty decent leader, but Ryan Tannehill is coming in and he's playing way better than he is. I get it's a contract year, but it's also a contract year for Marcus Mariota. Who else do you want? There's not too many guys out in the market. Do you want Josh Rosen? The Patriots were rumored to want Josh Rosen. Would they trade him for like a second-round pick? I don't know. It all depends on where they land in the draft. Knowing the Patriots, Tua's either gonna fall to them or they're gonna trade up for Tua. They definitely have a plan. I think there are multiple avenues for them to go, but none of them are like overly amazing, and a lot of them take risks. You can keep Tom Brady and have a guy mentor like Jarrett Stidham under him, but Jarrett Stidham didn't really look that good. And quarterbacks, New England hasn't really been necessarily a quarterback factory, because Jimmy Garoppolo went to Kyle Shanahan. You had Jacoby Brissett, who went to a smart Frank Reich coach who helped Nick Foles get to a Super Bowl. So it's not like these quarterbacks are great by any chance. They're not a quarterback factory, but you could say they've been decent. So there's a big question with that. The Patriots, if they keep Tom Brady, they're taking a big gamble. because there are some quarterbacks now that are coming up that are going to be good. Would they want Cam Newton? No. So let's go in Tom Brady's sense. Where can he play? I already made a video about this, but the main question is, people say Tom Brady is washed, but I'm gonna give you this question. Be an NFL team. Whether you're a Cowboys fan, Chargers fan, Titans fan, Bears fan, and you could say, hey, Tom Brady is gonna be your quarterback next year. Are you gonna take him? I would say 80% of the league would say yes. Maybe the Cowboys they'd be like iffy, but I bet you have to ask a Dallas Cowboys fan, okay, we trade Dak Prescott for Tom Brady. Who are you taking? They're taking Tom Brady. And yeah, so if like a lot of people are hating on Tom Brady until you say, you know what, let's swap them. Imagine Tom Brady with all those weapons in Dallas with that great offensive line. He would shred defenses. And he would give the team a lot more confidence because he has that Super Bowl air to him. My top 3 choices back a couple of weeks ago were, I said the Titans would be a huge player for Tom Brady. I also said the Chargers could be amazing because they play in LA. And I forgot what the number 1 was. People are talking about the 49ers. I don't think so. I think they're stuck with Jimmy Garoppolo. His contract is not hard to move off of, but it's not easy. And Tom Brady has to start thinking about his kids. So it's a lot I want to stress to you. We're going to talk about this more and more, but I kind of want to dip my foot a little bit in this conversation. Tom Brady, in my opinion, I'm not going to try to predict when he's going to retire. The Patriots have a lot of options to stretch out, but Josh McDaniels may not be the offensive coordinator, so they're taking a big risk. They may want to have to go after a guy who's already established. And then if you're a team in the NFL, are you taking Tom Brady off of your current quarterback? I'd say 80% of the teams would. You're telling me if you're an Eagles fan, you say Tom Brady is going to be your quarterback, you wouldn't trade him in a heartbeat for Carson Wentz? You telling me that? The Saints with Drew Brees, maybe not. I don't know about that, but keep on naming them. And, Tom Brady you would love to have Tom Brady as your quarterback. But anyway, let's move on to my next storyline, because I really want to talk about, it's a follow-up. It's about Gardner Minshew and the Jaguars are facing off the Los Angeles Chargers, and the Jacksonville Jaguars are currently a 3-point underdog against the Los Angeles Chargers. I'm not going to restart that segment. I kind of stumbled through it, but we're going to get through it. So currently, the Jaguars are 4-8, and the Chargers are 4-8 as well. And the Los Angeles Chargers are flying all the way to Jacksonville to play the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's the name of the team. And currently, they recently just lost one of their primary defensive players out. He's out for the rest of the season. Myles Jack, I believe. He's on injured reserve, and he's gone. So this defense now lost Jalen Ramsey. You lost Dante Fowler Jr. You lost Myles Jack. You lost Telvin Smith. And this defense is now, you could say it's depleted. Now, obviously, they have Josh Allen, who's a rising star on this defense. You have a couple other pieces like A.J. Boye, who are playing well. And you have some depth at linebacker as well. But, obviously, you're not in an ideal situation in Jacksonville. And they're going to have to look at Doug Marrone and see whether or not he could, he's going to remain the coach of this team. A lot of people aren't mentioning Doug Marrone as a coach that could be fired. They're 4-8 this year. They went 5-11 last year. The year before that, they went 10-6. Oh, well, what a great season. They ended up making it to the AFC Championship game, and we're one quarter away from beating the New England Patriots and maybe even winning the Super Bowl. You never know. So, the Jaguars have a lot of things to think about. Their owner, Shahir Khan, whatever his name is, doesn't really like Gardner Minshew, and he would rather Foles play. He likes that conservative. He doesn't like chaos. He wants a guy that's going to come in and play, and Gardner Minshew creates a little bit of unease. Now, I suggested, hey, trade him to the Chargers, which is ironic because now they're playing the Chargers. But now looking back on it, it would have been a steal for the Chargers. I thought that Nick Foles wouldn't play this bad. Now, I came out of the video saying, you know what, Foles can lead the Jaguars to a Super Bowl if he gets hot at the right time. But now we realize, you look at the stats, PFF, he was ranked 30. He had a 30 or 40 PFF grade until he won that miraculous Super Bowl run where his grades were 93 and 93 out of 100. This is not out of like 158. This is out of 100. So obviously, that was a huge just anomaly, and that wasn't who he was. And, this team, he comes to a team that has Super Bowl aspirations, and it never really clicked, and he hasn't really played that well. And once you don't play well for a team that, like, the team easily gives up on you. We almost saw that with the Bears, who actually drafted, and they have ties to Mitch Trubisky. But now we're especially seeing that for Foles. Foles got paid $50 million to play for Jacksonville up front. $22 million, it's not crazy. They were smart. They didn't sign him to a $25, $26 million year contract. The contract is pretty ugly. I'm not saying it's a great-looking contract. But I think you can survive with Gardner Minshew being the quarterback that's going to play for the rest of the season. And, Doug Marrone, is he going to want to coach Gardner Minshew? I don't think so. You might want to bring in a Mike Leach or a offensive-minded coach like Josh McDaniels to come in and teach Gardner Minshew how to better make decisions and how to develop him into more of a Patrick Mahomes. He'll make some mistakes sometimes, but I think Gardner Minshew has a pretty high ceiling. I do. I think it's higher than most people would think. He makes the right decisions. He's creative. He can go off script. Sometimes it doesn't really land right, but the Jacksonville Jaguars have a lot of weapons similar to the Chicago Bears. Mitch Trubisky has struggled getting them the ball, but Gardner Minshew can extend plays. He can get them the ball and make a lot of plays. He holds on the ball for a little bit too much, so he's gonna need to mature in that way. But I think Gardner Minshew is going to succeed with the Jacksonville Jaguars. And as far as the game, I think it's going to be one of my best bets. I'm not going to tell you where I'm landing, so definitely tune in for that. But there are definitely a lot of storylines with Jacksonville. They're 4-8. They're not making the playoffs. But this year I think it's a clarity year. I think they should fire Doug Marrone, bring in a guy who's going to teach Gardner Minshew, who's a little more easy with Gardner Minshew. You brought in John DeFilippo for Nick Foles, but at some point you can't double down on a bad decision. And we're going to see over the next couple of games what Gardner Minshew has in him, and I love that storyline. Is Gardner Minshew going to fail, and they have two quarterbacks that look like they stink? Or it's going to be, we have Gardner Minshew. Maybe even the Eagles take back Nick Foles for a backup role. I don't think so, because they're paying Carson Wentz $30 million plus, and then Nick Foles $22 million. That's not going to happen. But what's going to happen here? Is Gardner Minshew going to suck and they're going to end up drafting their quarterback? But this team has a lot of depth from really bad drafts, really good drafts, and really high picks in drafts. So it's definitely going to be really interesting to see what Gardner Minshew and how he plays over the next couple of weeks. And let's move on to my last storyline, which is the Saints, because I was very wrong about them, and I want to dissect why. So they have an amazing defensive front with Marcus Davenport and everybody who's really stepped up this year. And I thought they'd be 6-10. I really thought the magic ended. But it turns out that injury to Drew Brees with his finger, now he's healthy. And they play the 49ers this weekend. And they're currently 2-point favorites. The line is going down. So the more money is coming in on the San Francisco 49ers to win this game, or at least cover the spread. So this is what the line is basically telling you, is that the 49ers are a hair better than the Saints on a neutral field, because home field is valued around 3 to 4 points. I think it's valued a little bit more in the Mercedes-Benz Dome. So if you agree with this line, if you think on a neutral site, if you think they played in the Super Bowl or something, a neutral site like that the 49ers would win, then you would bet the 49ers right here, because that's what the line is telling you. So anyways, I think there are a couple interesting storylines in this game. Drew Brees, that pass rush on the 49ers is ferocious. Can he deal with a pass rush like this? Because he's going to have to deal with that in the playoffs again. This is not the last time that you're going to see the 49ers, most likely. With the Seattle Seahawks defensive front. Minnesota's, who's, doesn't have the greatest depth. You have a lot of pass rushes in with the Chicago Bears. So Drew Brees is going to be under duress. Can this offensive line hold up? Eric McCoy has been a standout at center. They've also had some standout performances on the offensive line. They kept Drew Brees up. They've kept Teddy Bridgewater up. And how does Sean Payton come in and work Taysom Hill into this? Does he confuse the 49ers defense? Does he bring in... how often does he use Taysom Hill? I've seen a lot of times where, especially with my Florida Gators, we have a secondary quarterback named Emory Jones. And he's known as a running quarterback. He's a wildcat guy. But when we had our biggest game against the University of Georgia, we didn't see Emory Jones the entire game, maybe one snap. So what's Taysom Hill's role in this game? Is he going to be throwing touchdowns? Is he just going to be a special teams guy? What is he going to do? Taysom Hill is down for everything. That's what I like about him. He's yes coach. Whatever he can do for his team to succeed, that's great. He's not like, oh, I need to at least have like 3 plays on offense a game. No, he's like, okay, if I can make an impact on punting, I can do that. And that shows a bunch of coaching. The Saints, they're really good at coaching. They're really good at making everyone seem like they're on board. And they've really focused after this, the NFC Championship debacle. I thought it was a little bit of a mess. I thought Sean Payton was mentioning a little bit too much. There was chaos. There was yada yada with, this player doing something. And, this person saying, we should have won. But, the secondary is good enough. As long as you can pressure Jimmy Garoppolo, I think you should be good. This is going to be a very, very interesting game. It's going to be at 1 p.m. on Sunday. And I don't really have a prediction for this game. I really don't. I've been back and forth all week. I close my eyes and I can see the 49ers winning, and I can see the Saints winning. That's what I usually close my eyes and imagine. I'm like, can I see the Saints at 11-2 and the 49ers at 10-3 behind the Seahawks in the division on Sunday? Yes, I could definitely see that. And so I have no really strong opinions either way. The key thing with the 49ers is their offensive line. Can they block? Is Joe Staley going to be healthy enough? Is Mike McGlinchey going to be healthy enough? Because they've been banged up all year to block. How are the 49ers receivers? Do the Saints match up well man-on-man with the 49ers wide receivers? The 49ers brought in a wide receiver from the Denver Broncos, I think Emmanuel Sanders, at the break, and he's been a huge instrumental role. George Kittle, is it just too many weapons? Or does the pass rush get to Jimmy Garoppolo so fast? Honestly, the more that I'm thinking about it, the more I want to pick San Francisco. But here's the thing. They've played a lot of, primetime games recently. Green Bay, they had a big game against the Ravens. Are they going to be banged up? Now they have to travel all the way down to New Orleans, and they've been waiting for, the 49ers to come. And they've been just, they're getting kind of bored. We played the Atlanta Falcons, with 10 days. We had 10 days off. The week before that, I believe they had a bye. So it's like, whatever. It doesn't really matter to us. So I'm really going to be watching this game. And I have really no opinions either way. It's not a part of one of my best bets. I was completely wrong about the Saints. I thought this year they were completely dismantled, just like I did last year. But I had them at a playoff team. I had them at 10-6, so they've gotten to where I thought they would this year. And it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very interesting going down the line. Is Drew Brees healthy? Does he get nicked up this game? Does Dee Ford get to him and hit him the wrong way? And is he ever the same? And do they bring Teddy Bridgewater in? But obviously we cross to that bridge when we get to it. We haven't got to it yet, so I'm not crossing it. I'm just excited to watch this game and excited to watch some good football against two great teams in a game that really matters, because if the 49ers lose, they're probably not going to win the division. And I lose a lot of money because I have a lot of money on the 49ers to win the division. So I have a lot of bias towards the 49ers. I don't have any money on the Saints this year. I try to stick away from them because I didn't know what to make of them this year. Yeah, actually I had the Falcons win the division, so there was that. I have completely lost my faith in the Falcons. I'm never going to bet the Falcons again. There's some teams I'm just like, yeah, I'm not going to bet them. I learned this year. The Falcons, the Redskins, who else? There's another team this year that just screwed me over every single time I bet them. The Lions probably. I don't know what to make of these teams, so I'm not going to bet them anymore. But let's move on to my next segment where we talk about whatever we talk about. I don't know yet. Okay, and welcome to my top 15 NFL teams as of Week 14 in 2019. Now, I think my list is going to be a tad bit different from the normal list. Obviously, the Ravens have to be one. I would rank them 2. I think that they have a chance to lose at the Bills, and I think that the best team right now is the 49ers. I really do. They can beat anybody, anywhere. They have the strength. They have the size. Jimmy Garoppolo, he's not turning the ball over a lot. He can do it all. They have good coaching, good front office, good run game. They can win multiple ways. They can win with, a slow-scoring game like they almost did against the Ravens. They can win a high-scoring game like they had a shootout against the Seahawks, even though they lost both games, and those are 2 losses. They've proven that they can go toe to toe with different teams, different types of teams in different games. They've proven that they can beat the running quarterback. They've proven they can go toe to toe with those teams. The combined losses so far, they only lost by like a combined 6 points or 5 points, whatever it is. So they have a large plus-minus differential, which I love. With the Ravens, once you figure out Lamar Jackson, I like Lamar Jackson. I'm not saying he sucks. Once you figure out him, not too sure. But still have to have Ravens 1, 49ers 2. Number 3 is the Saints. That means I'll probably take the 49ers to win this weekend. But, it's home field. I don't know. They've been really impressive. I talked about them in an earlier segment. Don't want to talk a lot about them. But, yeah, I have them above the Seahawks, who are number 4. The Saints beat the Seahawks earlier this year. And I said, I'm like, the Seahawks defense is probably going to come up into shape soon. Jadeveon Clowney, in the beginning of the year, is kind of lackluster. But now he realizes these games count. He's kind of just a F up the play guy who's just like, he doesn't really show a lot up in the stats, but he makes his presence known. They've had a strong secondary play, which is really vital to their success. And, Seahawks are, coming up prime at the right time. A lot of people have Seahawks too. I just think that, I love Russell Wilson, but I don't trust their defense that much. I think right now they're too much of a bend, don't break. But I could be completely wrong. I mean, these are top teams. So we're kind of just picking hairs at this point. So, so number 5, the 5th best team in the NFL has to be the Chiefs right now. It really does. And I believe that they're going to beat the Patriots this weekend. And I think that Patrick Mahomes, he doesn't turn the ball over. He's gotten a little bit lucky. Like, he tried to scramble out the pockets, do like a Derek Jeter jump throw across his body. And it almost got intercepted against the Raiders. But this team has some swagger and has some confidence. And I believe that the talent on this defense is good enough to F up the play. It's good enough. They lost Justin Houston and Dee Ford, but they brought in a bunch of talent like Frank Clark. And I think Tyrann Mathieu is playing for them. I could be completely wrong. But, they didn't really lose that many guys. They let up 3 points to the Oakland Raiders, who I thought were a great offense. And, this team is going to they're going to have some swagger. So I'm definitely buying the Kansas City Chiefs. And I'm also not selling too much stock in the Patriots, who are number 6. We've seen this song and dance every single time. Tom Brady's motivation has to be questioned. Does he want to play anymore? That's a huge question for the Patriots. And I still think they have to be respected. You can't drop them down to like 7 or 8. So I have the Patriots 6. And a little bit controversial because I have the Texans behind them. Now, it's a fluke game. That's a fluke game. They had, a bunch of wide receivers and trick plays. And you really think that the Texans are going to beat the Patriots again in the playoffs? You really think so? I have to have the Texans number 7. They've been lucky this year. I think they've had balls bounced their way. I think they don't have a talented roster. And this is about talented rosters now. This is about playoffs. Deshaun Watson running around. If he's playing in 30-degree weather in New England, is he going to be able to beat Tom Brady and the Patriots? No. Patrick Mahomes can go anywhere and everywhere and beat Tom Brady. He can beat him in a dome. He can beat him everywhere. So that's why I trust Patrick Mahomes more than the Patriots, and than Deshaun Watson and the Texans. Coming in at number 8 is the Green Bay Packers. And I'm not going to buy this whole thing with, Green Bay being better than the Giants by a lot. And Green Bay, they're on a Super Bowl run. And, they were almost, they can get momentum. I'm not going to count that out. But what do they do that's special? Aaron Rodgers throwing it? I mean, their defense is like a bend, don't break. I guess they play well when it's cold. That's what you can say about this team. Matt LaFleur, you trust him up against a smart Kyle Shanahan. You trust him up against Sean Payton. You trust him up to scheme plays. Aaron Rodgers is, when he's high, he's really high. He could be one of the best quarterbacks. He throw 4 touchdowns, but once he loses some confidence in his wide receivers, like Tom Brady is right now, you think Lazard is going to be the hero in the playoffs? You think Devontae Adams is going to stay healthy? There are a lot of ifs with this team. Obviously, the Beluga and a couple of their offensive linemen are doing great. They're sticking in there. They're protecting Aaron Rodgers. They're going to keep him healthy. But, this run game hasn't really been that impressive. It really hasn't, as of late. And their defense, it's worse than Seattle's. And so that's why I have to have them all the way down there. They're 9-3 though. They have had some stinkers against the Eagles. Like that, how do you have that? I mean, good teams always have stinkers. I guess you can't win every game, but I have a lot of questions about the Packers. Next, I have I think is this number 9? I think it's number 9, but I have the. All right, you may call me a little bit biased, just a little bit biased, but I have to have the Bears here. I do. And I know they may have lost Roquan Smith. I'm recording this. He's currently getting his MRI. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. He probably tore his pec. But Akeem Hicks is coming back. I made a whole video about it. Well, it's today, but I'm uploading it today. And this is going to be uploaded tomorrow on a Saturday. So I made a whole video about how they're going to get healthy. And they're riding some momentum here. All you need to do is gain confidence. And Mitch Trubisky, he's throwing it well. Him and Josh Allen, who's number 10, they're very similar built teams. I just trust Matt Nagy a little bit more than I do Sean McDermott. I really do. Even though Sean McDermott's a defensive mind, you can play in the playoffs. I'm looking at the Bills and I'm like, okay, it's the Bills. And like that's just my whole opinion about it. I'm like, well, we've seen the Bears make some runs before. We've seen them do some things, but we saw the Bills in the playoffs a couple years ago. They put up like 9 points with Tyrod Taylor. And the Bills don't really have a lot of names on it. I think the Bears have this confidence and swagger about them that once they get rolling, they're the monsters of the Midway. Nothing can stop them. And it's all about the mentality. I think they're ripe enough to shape in a perfect time. Maybe the Bills' momentum gets stopped this weekend. I don't know. But the Bills have to round out my top 10. Number 11 is the Vikings. Now, I could have had that number 9 really easily and switched them with the Bears or, put the Vikings, all the way up. But it's Kirk Cousins. I still have a little bit of question. I'm not buying into them completely. If they go out and beat Detroit Chargers and win out, okay, then I'll start buying into them. But Kirk Cousins, he has all these stats. He's great. He hasn't really been winning games. And I think when it comes down to it, you're going to have to win games in the playoffs. You're going to have to put the team on your shoulders and win. I think they have a lot of defensive depth questions. Even though Zimmer is a pretty good coach, I think they have a lot of questions on this defense. Like, are they, Sheldon Richardson left, but, what do you call it? Anthony Barr, I'm looking at Xavier Howard. He had a couple good years a couple years ago. But, it's a secondary. I think the secondary gets torched in the playoffs by any good quarterback. I mean, Russell Wilson put up a 37 spot on him. I don't think a team who gets a 37 spot put up on them can win. Even how great the offense is, you get 37 points scored on you. I don't really trust you. I really don't. I know the year the Giants won the Super Bowl, they had 38 points on them against the Patriots, the best offense in the history of the world. Do you think the Seattle Seahawks had the best offense in the history of the world? No. And it was primetime game. It was a perfect get-right game for Minnesota. They knew they had some problems on offense with some players being out. And also that's a question, like health. But yes, move on to number 12. I still respect the Vikings. They're number 11. I mean, I'm not saying they suck. Number 12 is the Titans. Now, at the beginning of the year, I had them 8-8. I had them winning the division at 8-8 because I had no idea what to make of this AFC South. And I think I was pretty much right about it. It's going to be like a hobble-jobble mess. But, Ryan Tannehill, he looks impressive. He does. This defense is believing in him, but I think it's a little bit of a stint. I think it's a little bit of a false hope. But, I don't want to play the Titans in the playoffs. I'd rather play the Oakland Raiders than the Titans. So I have to have the Titans at number 12. Now, I was thinking about putting the Steelers up here. But I'm like, does Devlin Hodges, do you think he's going to make a lot of noise in the playoffs? Do you really think that? Like one of those memes, like, really? The guy with the raised eyebrows and stuff like that. So I was thinking about the NFC East here. I was thinking about having some teams. But honestly, right now, you have to have the Los Angeles Rams here. Because Jared Goff can put you in any single game. I said that in the beginning of the year, they're going to be an 8-8, 9-7 team. I was completely right about that. But you never know. They made some moves. Jalen Ramsey. They got rid of Marcus Peters, brought in Jalen Ramsey. They have some veteran leadership on this team. They may be getting healthy at the right time. You never know. And this league is all about momentum. So I have the Rams at number 13. Let's speed up a little bit. I'm really thinking about putting the Steelers at number 14, but I just can't. But what am I going to put the Colts at? I'll put the Steelers in at 13 or 14 or whatever. And then the Colts at 15. At this point, it's just a hobble-jobble mess. What are we doing here? I think the line pretty much stops at around Minnesota, about serious teams, real serious teams. I had the Bears in there. It's got a little bit of a bias. I'm like smiling while I say that, but I have a little bit of a bias with them. Go Bears. I'm a Giants fan, but that's gonna be a topic for a different day. Like, Giants fans like rooting for different teams. Like, is that okay? I think it is, but yeah, those are my top teams. And then for the rest of my rankings, honestly, haven't made them yet, but honestly, I don't care. I don't even know why I should be making these rankings. Like, does it really matter? I mean, the Bengals, I guess they're not in last place anymore. Who would I put in last place? I guess you put the Giants in last place. It depends what they do this Monday night. That's gonna be a really interesting game. I already have my predictions about that if you guys want to check it out. And yeah, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a little bit interesting here, though. They're not gonna make the playoffs, but Jameis Winston is fighting for his playing career right now. It'll be interesting this weekend to see how he does against who are they playing? The Colts. If the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they win, all of a sudden they can potentially be eking out my top 15. I only had them at 2 wins before the season started. And then the Lions would probably be my worst team. I mean, they did give the Bears a run for their money. I'm just kind of thinking out my ratings now. The Chargers just find ways to lose. They're just a losing franchise. And the Broncos are a bit interesting here. They have a lot of talent. Are they going to be sellers in the offseason, or are they going to be buyers? Or are they going to try to get rid of Von Miller? I think they have a team option. Are they going to try to sign him? Or are they just going to let him walk and try to rebuild this team? Vic Fangio, that's really interesting to me. That's an interesting storyline to me. The Raiders had a little bit of a stint, and now they're going back. So there will be around 20 in my rankings. You can't lose against the Jets, almost lose against the Bengals, and get blown out by the Chiefs in a game that, is for the division. You can't do that. And they just have a bad defense. I said, yeah, they'll probably be my top. They were my top 10 a couple weeks ago, and I kind of bought into the hype. Someone's like, oh, look at these Raiders. But I'm like, they don't have a good defense. And Derek Carr hasn't been playing amazing this year. It's not like he's thrown for a lot. And now once Brandon Jacobs is gone, we see the real Derek Carr. So it's going to be very interesting to see what they do at the quarterback position next year, this upcoming offseason. We'll talk about more about that in the future. I don't want to give away all my beans and spill all my beans about all these teams. And I think that's all I really want to talk about. Dwayne Haskins has been, people are like, oh yeah, he's been winning. Really? They have the three-headed monster at running back. And they're not asking him to do a lot. But he's winning. Okay? He's thrown for 2 touchdowns in the 5 games he's played. That's on pace for 3 the entire season, I'm pretty sure. I'm not good at math, but yeah, so let's move on to my last segment. I'm excited for it. It's my BNA best bets. So let's just start it. Okay, so here we go. BNA best bets. This is what I'm excited for. This is what I'm hyped for. I try to learn from Vegas every single week, and I feel like I'm getting better. I feel like I have suspicions. I actually did better with money earlier in the year. But let's just start off my number one. The Pittsburgh Steelers are now, I saw it, they're favored by 3 points at Arizona, which basically means they're the same skill level as the Rams. And we saw Pittsburgh beat the Rams, but the one thing Arizona doesn't do is turn the ball over. Steelers they bank a lot and turn the ball over, giving their offense extra times to get it into the end zone. And I think that Arizona doesn't turn the ball over. They got embarrassed. The Pittsburgh Steelers, are they an 8-5 team? You look at their roster. Are they an 8-5 team with Devlin Hodges and, a bad offensive line? I don't know, bad offensive weapons right now. I don't know. I can't see them 8-5. I can see Arizona at 4-8-1 or whatever it is now. Is it 4-8-1? Yeah, 4-8-1. I can see them at 4-8-1. The Arizona Cardinals are pretty good this year. So have Arizona Cardinals take the 3 points, swallow them, eat them, however you want to digest them. And let's take the Cardinals +3 at home against the Steelers. And plus, it's on the West Coast. Traveling all the way there, the Cardinals stood pat. And they've had a while to look at the Pittsburgh Steelers, who, by the way, are off at a really emotional game versus the Cleveland Browns. Okay, so my second game is the Jets at Miami. This line confuses me. And in the beginning of the year, I would take Miami and be like, yeah, Miami, they're coming off a couple of good wins. But I think that last week, Eagles were really distracted. They're a hobble-jobble mess. The Jets, Adam Gase, they're going to be looking for margin this game. They're going to be looking to blow out the Dolphins improve. Like, you know what? Sam Darnold's a good quarterback. He's good. They're going to run it. They're going to run it early, often. The Dolphins are banged up. They've been losing a lot of players, like, very slowly throughout the entire year. Not really big drop-offs. In Vegas, these players are worth, like, infinitesimal amount of a point. It's, like, really small. So, the Dolphins are a really well-coached team. But Ryan Fitzpatrick, it's Ryan Fitzmagic. I think the magic runs out this week. Take the Jets +5. The Jets are going to win. They're not going to score as many points as they had. They're not going to go on the 34 burger. But I don't think the Dolphins are going to score that many points. It's going to be like a 27-20 game. The Jets win. They're playing at home. They were playing in the cold. Miami was playing in the warmth. They had everything going for them that game. And they had nothing to lose. Miami's looking at the draft right now. They're like, yeah, the Steelers are winning. What other pick? I think they have the Texans pick. The Texans are winning. Yeah, let's lose a couple of games here so we have better picks. So the Miami Dolphins lose. Take the Jets -5 against the Miami Dolphins. Another best bet that I have, I mentioned it in my other video, the Giants +9.5 against the Eagles. This line was 10. I took it at 10. I like it. I love it. Giants. Eli Manning, you think that Eli Manning is a 2-point downgrade from Daniel Jones? I don't think so. The team's going to be looking for a last hoorah. They have a lot of new guys in the secondary. Honestly, I would aim for the over in this game. In my video, I said probably the under because it's going to be cold. I don't really have a strong opinion about over-under in this game. I have a strong opinion that the Giants are not going to get blown out. And the Eagles, no Eli Manning, but I think that Eli Manning's very familiar with these weapons. Golden Tate, maybe not so much. But still, I mean, he didn't play with him, I guess, in the first couple games because he was suspended. He's going to figure out a way. Just a bunch of slants, a bunch of dump-offs. And Eli Manning's going to make the right decision, and he's going to dissect this Eagles defense. He's motivated to win. He wants to win. He is trying to get 117 and 116. In the realistic standpoint, I don't think he loves it, but 6 more yards, and he has more passing yards than Ben Roethlisberger for their careers. You get a couple more stats for Eli Manning before he goes out so he can maybe be ahead of Ben Roethlisberger if he ever plays again. I think Ben does, but, you always want to be ahead of your rivals. You're looking at Phillip Rivers. You're looking at a lot of guys who are retiring now. He wants to be like, I can still play. This is a tryout for him. I mentioned in my last video, this is a tryout for him to potentially start next year for a team like maybe Tampa, maybe the Raiders, probably not the Raiders, but this is his tryout for a team to be like, you know what? Let's bring him in for like leadership or something like that. Will it happen? Probably not, but I'm definitely taking the Giants +10 in prime time against the Eagles. He's healthy. He's rested. Carson Wentz, they're really lacking motivation. And plus, I mentioned in my video, if the Dallas Cowboys lose to the Bears, we can still lose this game. It doesn't really matter. It's still gonna go down to that one game. So yeah, so I love the Giants even more. +10 against the Eagles. Now I have a lot of problems this week with lines. I don't love any of them, but Atlanta plays the Carolina Panthers, and they are 3-point favorites at home against the Panthers. The Panthers have been dealing with a lot of injuries. Greg Olson's out. Kyle Allen hasn't been putting up a lot of points. I would say bet the under in this game, but no. I think Atlanta carries them out. I think they know they can beat Carolina. Dan Quinn's coaching for his life, so he's going to completely annihilate Carolina. They're not going to be able to score any single points. They're at home for the second week in a row, and I like Atlanta to win. Plus, obviously, what's the saying? The elephant in the room is Ron Rivera is fired. Perry Fewell is now the head coach, the ex-defensive coordinator for the Giants. Ironically, he's not going to know. Ron Rivera helped with the game plan a little bit, but Norv Turner hasn't really been able to solve Kyle Allen out. They scored 15 points against the Redskins. Come on, I mean the Redskins. A lot of teams have torched this defense. They've been shaping up a little bit, but they're in a dome. Atlanta has all the advantages. Matt Ryan doesn't want to lose. You think he wants to lose on purpose? They're out of the playoffs, but he doesn't want to get embarrassed. He doesn't want to have another 4-12 year. That's how Matt Ryan is. He's getting paid to win. This defense, they're going to want to make a little bit of a statement here. It's a division rival, so they're going to be awake for it. It's not like a non-division rival. This is a division rival here. They're going to show up to play. The Carolina Panthers are banged up. They're not healthy. They're missing their offensive linemen, their tight ends. I think Gerald McCoy's a little bit banged up as well. The Falcons aren't that healthy. I haven't really done a lot of research, but honestly, I'm taking Atlanta. I think Atlanta right now is the better team. They've been playing better. They did pretty well against the Saints. They did about even value of what the beginning line said. But the Carolina Panthers last week were favored by 10 and they lost by 15. That's a difference of 25. So I'm definitely hammering the Atlanta Falcons this week, -3. And finally, Green Bay Packers and Redskins. Initially, this line was like 13, then it went to 13.5. Now it's back down to maybe it's down to 12.5. But a lot of sharp bettors are betting the Redskins, and I'm going to agree with them because the defense has been playing pretty well for the Redskins here. They've allowed 15 points the week before that, very minute. The defense is coming up into shape. They allowed 16 points to Miami, and we know what Miami can do. This defense is not bad. I can tell you that much. Ryan Kerrigan, what do you call it? Daron Payne, a bunch of guys that can front stuff. And maybe stop the Green Bay Packers, who are going to be looking to run a lot because it's going to be cold that day. Dwayne Haskins is used to playing at Ohio State. He's gonna get some points here. The defense is a bend don't break. And are the Packers motivated for margin here? If they win by 13-10, is it really gonna matter? But the Redskins are looking to fight. They're still alive in the playoffs technically. So the motivation in that locker room is, can we do this? If we win out, all we have to do is win out. We play the Giants in a week. We still. Did they play the Eagles again? I think they play the Eagles again, and I think they play the Cowboys again as well. So they control their own destiny at this point. They'd be like, can we make the playoffs at 7-9? There's a lot of sentiment in that room. They're not gonna want to lose. They've gotten used to their new interim coach, whoever that is. I forget who. And the Green Bay Packers, they're gonna be looking to throw it. The Redskins are vulnerable in the secondary, but again, is Green Bay motivated to run up the score? No, once they start throwing it, then they'll start. Once they get up to a lead, they'll start running it, and maybe a Redskins backdoor cover. So probably take Green Bay to win. I take the over in this game, honestly. I think Green Bay they're gonna keep on looking to throw it since they can't run. It's gonna make them make some mistakes. So probably a 24-13 win by Green Bay. And look at that. That's 13 points. You think that's a blowout game? And we're still well within the margin. So 24-13 Green Bay. As far as the other games, obviously Atlanta wins. They probably win 27-13. I picked 13 again for some reason. I already gave you my Giants prediction score. And I forgot what the first game was. I don't know. But I hope you guys did enjoy this edition of Being a Sports Talk. That's all I have for you today. We actually record this all in one take. This is the first time I recorded it all in one take. I was planning on hobble-jobbling it, but again, let me know what you guys think of this video. Do you want me to do more of these? Do you want Being a Sports Podcast to return? Do you miss it so much, or do you like this format? Everything. My voice is just try talking for 44 straight minutes. My voice is a little bit dry. It's a little bit dry outside today. Hopefully, you guys have a great weekend. Make some money with my best bets. It's money-making time. We want to give your girlfriend or your significant other, or maybe your friend, brother, cousin, mom, sister, uncle, neighbor, a gift for this Halloween, Christmas. And definitely do enjoy. I'm probably gonna do another Being a Sports podcast next weekend. It really does depend on what I have to talk about. If you talk about the same NFL teams over and over again, it's just nothing really changes. But and plus I want to create value for you guys. I don't want it to be we're talking about the same things over and over just for consistency's sake. I want to produce some value here. That's what it's all about. And hope you guys did enjoy this video. Again, let me know what you guys think. Rate, review, like, subscribe, share. You know what to do. And I'll leave you with one of my favorite songs. Let's just start the music. I love it. I love this song. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.